Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for today's Healthline 3. I'm Courtney Butts, your host, and Healthline 3 is where we like to focus on ways to live a healthier, happier, and pain-free life. And I'm joined by some really special ladies in the studio today with Shed It Weight Loss and Wellness, Irina Haskatas and Catherine Rogers. But we've got a special guest, so introduce me, Irina.
We have a very special guest today. You may actually recognize her voice because this is the radio host of the morning show on Kiss Country, and it's Erin Bristol.
Yes, so happy to be here.
Absolutely, yes. Thanks for being here. And if you're unfamiliar with Healthline, Healthline 3 is where we like to talk about ways to live that healthier life with special guests. But we also will be taking your calls and answering your questions in the studio today. And we'll be opening those phone lines soon. But if you do give us a call, remember to make sure that you're in a quiet room so that we can hear your question. And our number is 318-219-4569. All right. So tell me a little bit about Shed It. First of all, let's get a kind of a good understanding of what you guys do in the community. Irina, if you want to explain that for me.
So Shed It is a weight loss and wellness clinic. We are located in Bossier City, and we offer weight loss injections, semaglutide, tirzepatide. By now, probably everybody has heard about them. We also have oral options for people who do not like needles. We do bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, and we also do the Gallery cancer test.
All right, good deal. And so I'm sure everyone by now has heard of the weight loss injections or the weight loss drugs that you just mentioned. And so, but that's not all that you focus on. You focus on kind of the person holistically, and I'm sure, Erin, that you'll be able to, give us your testimony with that. But first, I want to, Catherine, tell me a little bit about how these drugs work, and maybe the results that you can expect to receive with them.
Yeah, so this is that GLP class of medicine. They're working on GLP receptors in your pancreas, basically helping you to better regulate your blood sugar, so increase insulin production, better regulate that blood sugar after you eat, kind of quiet that hungry food craving noise in your head. And then they physically work, they slow stomach and GI motility, so you're going to be able to feel fuller sooner and longer. So kind of overall more satisfied, just less hungry, less craving, to really try to use them as a tool, to, like you said, sort of holistically try to eat better protein. We have different things that we talk about to get the best results, but just kind of able to take some of the guesswork or that part out of it. So.
Okay, and you are a physician assistant, so
yes.
You've got all that medical knowledge and background. So, okay, cool. So Erin, tell me a little bit of just a snapshot of your story with Shed It.
Okay, so I guess it was probably about 2 years ago, my primary care physician, she said, okay, seriously, we just took a look at your A1C. It's way high, we're pre-diabetic, let's put you on metformin, let's see if we can get this down. And through that spring, I was able to get that down and to come off of the metformin. And I did see some weight loss. However, I spent almost my entire time on that drug, very sick, because the side effects were pretty significant. So when the opportunity became available with Shed It, I walked in and I'd heard all about the magic shot, like you can lose up to 20% of your weight. Some people are losing like 20 pounds in a month, and I was like, okay, this is too good to be true. Because here I am, I was 49, and I'm like, I've been on this roller coaster, this diet yo-yo for decades at this point. And I'll be honest, I think I truly had lost hope. And then I met Irina and Catherine, who is actually my PA at Shed It. And it was funny. We went through, first of all, they're very thorough. We did blood tests and everything else. They made sure my labs were clean, that I was clear to go forward. And within the first couple of months, it was like, oh, wait a minute, this is working. Because I started in October, it was right before the holidays. I'm like, surely I'm not going to be able to lose weight through Thanksgiving and Christmas. I did.
That's awesome.
I did.
Started this time last year.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it's literally a year ago this month. And now I did start with the semaglutide, which is one of their magic shots that we talk about. I did make the switch to tirzepatide. Am I saying that correctly? Around November, December. But that, in addition to Catherine working with me and finding out what the real issues were, had a lot of stress going on in my life. I was 49, as I've already said. It's, getting close to that age, ladies. I know that if you haven't been there, you don't quite understand it, but when you get there, you'll be like, yeah, I'm with you. So we did the bioidentical hormone replacement therapy testing, and since then, I'm on testosterone. Who knew? I'm on progesterone, and then you also recommended a supplement called True Adapt, which also helps to balance hormones as well. And at that point, Irina is like, listen, I need you to know this. This is going to be a game changer, and it truly was. I was able to stay awake all day long. I got to work at 4:30 in the morning. I was used to a nap. All of a sudden, I have the energy to do the things that I want to do. And so as I'm losing weight, I'm gaining energy. I'm literally just feeling better in my body. Things naturally start to take hold. I'm an avid equestrian. I started riding more because why? It was easier.
Yeah.
And I can say this, it's been interesting because, to do this journey so publicly, people do ask some very direct questions like, well, hey, I've heard that, yes, you're losing body fat, but you're also losing lean muscle mass. Well, I can tell you for a fact that's not correct. I mean, I'm looking at this. I have lost 5.6% body fat in a year.
Wow.
I'm just shy of 50 pounds down.
Awesome.
I have lost, where is my total lean muscle mass? I lost 5.4 pounds. So that's negligible. I mean, that's what, less than 1%? I mean, really, 2%? Yeah. So for, people who are worried about losing that lean muscle mass, as long as you're doing some kind of, I would say, activity, I wouldn't even call it a workout. Yeah. I think that, you're pretty safe. And, we walk through all the things that I think are typical when it comes with weight loss. Make sure you're eating the real protein, not just relying on protein shakes, because that's not teaching you how to eat down the road. Making sure you're getting all the water in, and fiber. Who knew fiber was so important?
Yes, I love this, and I love that you kind of led with how you felt versus, we just got to the point where you're talking about numbers. You're talking about more like how you felt and how you felt better. You were increased energy, and it wasn't just these are the numbers, because I think a lot of times people get so caught up in how much weight can I expect to lose, when in reality, if you feel better, then you're like, okay, I could stick to this a little bit longer too.
And I realize that for some people, they look at some of the pricing on the medication. First off, you can start for as low as $199 a month. For the change in my overall health and well-being, when I do go to my primary care physician and I do get my labs drawn, I'm coming off of my high blood pressure medicine. And by the way, I did this all as I was quitting smoking and everything else. So that tells you how life-changing it is. So, I mean, I had some horrid habits, did I not?
Well, I think it's important to know that maybe for someone who is going to get on semaglutide or tirzepatide and they don't change anything else, then they probably could even expect to not have as great of an outcome as you have, like maybe losing more lean muscle mass, and not really having the mindset shift that you've experienced when you focus on yourself holistically, as you guys have focused on, at Shed It.
And that's the whole point at Shed It, honestly. They've got nutritional counseling. They've partnered with several different meal prep companies here in the area that give you free seminars on not just to, buy their meals, but to teach you how to do it yourself. They give you the skills to do it. Yeah. And it's all right there, and it's a part of the program.
Right. I think this is sometimes what people forget. Of course, if you go to an online company, you can get the medicine cheaper, but you get all these other services with us, and it's included. So we don't just ship off the medicine and you never hear from
Right.
us again. Like, we are here every step of the way.
Right, and I can't tell you how many times somebody has reached out to me, because I've been pretty vocal about my journey, both on air and on my social media, that people are like, well, I went somewhere because I could get it cheaper, whether it was online or something like that. And they literally sent them out the door with a vial and some syringes. And it was basically like, good luck. No. I will text this woman and be like, I got a question. And she's like, it's Erin again. But yeah, but I mean, they're always here to help. And that's what it is. It's the personal one-on-one medical care, because it truly is. It's backed by science. If you stick with it, you will not fail, period.
Yeah. So Catherine, tell me about how these drugs can impact. So you mentioned your A1C was a little higher pre-diabetic range before you started. So how can these drugs impact someone with, first explain what A1C is, and then how it can impact that.
So hemoglobin A1C is a test to measure your blood sugar in your body, but it's over 3 months. So it basically gives a reflection of kind of your average blood sugars over the 3-month period. So, and there's ranges for that. You've got your normal range, they've got a range for pre-diabetic, and then you've got your diabetic range. So basically that just means that pre-diabetic is that insulin resistance category where just your body is not, responding to insulin correctly. So over time, and after we eat everything, it turns into glucose in our body, and so your body knows you're supposed to store some of that, you're supposed to burn some of that. That's just kind of the powerhouse of everything. And then over time, our body just is not able to respond to that insulin to know what to do. So then you have more in your bloodstream, which then, makes your body turn more of what you're eating into fat. You become insulin resistant. It increases inflammation in your body. Just all kind of different things can happen once you're insulin resistant. They have PCOS, coronary artery disease, all these different things.
It makes life a lot harder.
Yeah. So these are able to help your body just respond better to that, increase that insulin production, and then help you respond basically better to food over time too. They've shown studies where if you can be on these injections for, a year, it actually resets your metabolic rate so that it even increases or decreases your chance of becoming diabetic in the future, because your body's able to just respond better to that glucose cue.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, because I know that was kind of your experience, pre-diabetic range.
Absolutely, and it was high. Like, it was scary high. Like, holy cow, are we talking about, daily shots high? Am I going to have to get an insulin pump? Like, this is scary. So when you talk about, really capturing your wellness and taking control of your health, I'll be honest, I talked to my primary care physician, who I adore, about being tested, like my hormones and other things like that. And just insurance-wise, the answer is no. You need to go to a private doctor and have that talk. And if you got to come out of pocket sometimes to do what's best for you, it's what you have to do.
It's an investment in yourself.
Because they weren't going to test me until, women, until you're a year without a cycle. Well, guess what? I'm suffering now. Like, I can't sleep. It's hot, I'm the old lady on set right now. It's okay. You studied this, so yeah.
I love that. Yes, and if you're just joining us and you have a question for Erin or for Irina or for Catherine, just give us a call at 318-219-4569. That number is right there on your screen, and we'd love to hear from you. Okay, so transitioning gears a little bit. So I love that you printed out, like you said, what did you call it? Your
This is
stats.
actually a printout of the Fit3D
Yes,
body
and I was going to get you to explain this, Irina.
Yeah.
So this is also something that we offer to every patient, and also to people that are not patients. They can just come in and do this Fit3D body scanner. And I think this is really one of the greatest tools that we have. It's basically a scale, but it also gives you measurements of all kinds of body points, like your thighs, your waist, your hips, your arms, your neck, like everywhere where you really lose weight. And the most important thing, it distinguishes between lean mass and fat mass. And this is why for Erin, it is especially important to show that she lost a majority of like adipose tissue and not her muscle mass. So she wants to keep the lean mass. And you can compare your baseline, which is your very first scan, and you can keep basically all measurements in between, and then you can look at the current. So if we look, for instance, at her body fat percentage, she lost 5.6 percent points, which is a lot. And
this
then
is
also,
over a year's-
I mean, I'm
year's
not going to
time.
share your inches here, but also
Well, you can share the
inches
inches
lost
off.
are also really, really impressive.
Okay, so 4.3 off my waist. No, I'm fine, because when I signed on for this, I said, you know what, I'm gonna share it. And if I'm not completely transparent about it, I'm not gonna give you my weight. Then you'll think I have something to hide.
5.4
off
of the
my
hips.
That's
Are you
awesome.
serious?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't wear plus sizes anymore. I walked in and bought these pants in June, and I was like, holy cow, I'm a TJ Maxx. I don't get to shop here that often. And guess what? Here we are 4 months later, they're already a little big. And I'm
Wow.
like, hey.
There we go.
So I can tell you some of the craziest things have happened. Irina, God love her, she literally cried when I sent this to her because she was laughing so hard. Hank Williams Jr. in town. I am like, woohoo, I got my new dress on. I got some cowboy boots, never worn them out before, feeling good about life. Well, because I'm wearing this cute little dress, I'm like, let's get some full coverage drawers on just in case, insurance. Well, I didn't take into account that those weren't my new size. So after dancing at a concert all night, what happens to things?
Okay.
So as I'm leaving the CenturyLink, or I'm sorry, Berkshire Grocery Arena, it's raining. So what does that do? Everything sticks close. I'm trying to lose my drawers at Hank. And I have two friends who have been overserved, yelling across the parking lot. So now everybody's looking, Bristol, Bristol. Skirt short, trying to pull up the drawers. Oh my gosh, I can't even like just let them fall and kick them away because I'm wearing cowboy boots. Y'all, it was like I had leg shackles on.
Oh my goodness.
I lost my drawers at a Hank Williams show.
wow.
Nobody knows that that's the side effect when you go to
Right.
Wellness and Weight Loss Center. Your clothes will fall off.
Literally.
Yeah, literally.
Literally.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, thanks for sharing. That's so fun. But
You don't think about it, but you will now.
right, yeah, you have many different ways to view your progress. So I love
Hey,
that.
listen, I was happy to go shopping for new ones because, hey, I was just talking with another girlfriend today who is a client of Shed It as well. Obviously, HIPAA, I can't share who
Right.
it is, but it was like, wow, did you see Victoria's Secret is having the 10 for $40 sale? Guess what? We can shop there now.
There we
Who
go.
knew?
Awesome. Yeah. So looking at all different facets of your journey, and it's all of it so exciting. So what has been maybe the most rewarding part of working with Shed It? It's been a year, and a lot of these numbers are from your mark, right? So what is the most rewarding? You've kind of mentioned it earlier, but maybe non-scale victories that you've experienced.
Two different things. I took a really hard look at my life in the last year, and there were two different areas I really wanted to grow it in. And that was with my equestrian sport, which, I would like to go back to competing, which we are working at. And secondly, I made a huge change. I wasn't completely happy doing what I was doing. And I finally had the confidence to go, you know what, you got the power to change that. And so I am now the marketing and public relations manager, part of the development team for Volunteers for Youth Justice.
Nice.
I was able to go, you know what, I need something more personal, fulfilling. At the end of the day, I know that I'm helping children who in most cases have been abused and neglected every single day.
Right.
And that's a huge thing to go home and go, you know what, I did that every day.
I love that. And so when is this a new change? that
Started
you've-
full-time July 1st.
Okay.
And
awesome.
like I said, I blame it on Irina. I blame it on Shed It.
I happily take this blame.
Awesome. Yeah. So when did you start riding horses?
My entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Okay.
getting back into it, competitively and, dealing with all the things you do through there, it's a lot easier to do it when there's less to move around.
Yeah, and probably just having the confidence, like maybe feeling like you have yourself back in some ways.
Amen.
You know, and wanting to maybe revisit a lot of the things that you maybe used to do or used to give you joy.
Amen.
So I love that.
And
what it's all about.
the energy to get something new started.
Oh yeah, I mean, just we'll go kayaking more, or we'll go walk the wildlife, refuge, and all the things.
Yeah.
So you mentioned part of your journey is the bioidentical hormone replacement. So tell me about maybe Catherine or Irina of how you go about deciding, what kind of hormones does a patient need, and what are those labs, that you take, and then the process moving forward.
Yes, so that we do a saliva test. So basically at 4 different times of the day. So we're testing for different hormones: estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, which is another sex stimulating hormone, and then we test your cortisol. So cortisol is that fight or flight, inflammation type stress hormone in your body. So we test that at 4 different times of the day, and then, like I said, all through saliva, so that is just given just a more accurate level throughout the day. And then we get that back, and then we also compare, we went through the whole gamut of questions, just different symptoms that you're having, like, fatigue, night sweats, moodiness, low libido, just a whole, like I said, gamut of questions and symptoms. And then once we get those levels back, then we compare, and then we actually partner with Boudreaux's Pharmacy here in town with Dr. Bethany. And so she helps us too to come up with a treatment plan for what to replace, to help sleep better, to help with more energy, to help with more mood, to help with more sex drive, just whatever hormone, imbalances we might be having. But basically it's a combination of symptoms that we're having plus hormone levels, and it's a long, in-depth, family history of cancer, personal history of clots, any reason that might lead you to not do hormone replacement. It's a very in-depth, medical history and background there too. So
nice, yeah. And so you felt maybe a big difference when you started that.
Huge. Like, and I find it interesting, because Shetta has, I guess, I don't want to say a sister program, but actually a brother program, and Gladiator Men's Health, because men can do the bioidentical hormone replacement therapy as well. And, a lot of them, hey, guess what? Around my age, they're looking at low T. Like, seriously, go get tested. You will feel better. I feel better with more testosterone. I mean, no shame, no game. In fact, I was getting my nails done last night, obviously before coming on TV. And one of the girls was talking about, your husband lost 75 pounds. She's like, he didn't want to say, but he did it on the shot. And I'm like, and there's no shame in the shot.
No.
And I found that interesting that this other girl was just like, oh, I just don't think I could do it. Why? I mean, there's no shame in that.
No, there's absolutely no shame.
It's
a tool. It's help, and it
absolutely.
motivates, because you see results, and then it motivates you even more. So there is no shame at all.
I agree, and I'm like, hello, wait a minute. Why would you feel that way? Like, there's,
Yeah, maybe some people, like, they feel they want to do it on their own.
Or, or the shot's doing the work for you. I'm here to tell you, no, if you don't do what you're supposed to do on the shot, it's not going to, it'll probably work some.
Right.
Yeah, as much as we call it the magic shot, if we don't change some of those habits and that lifestyle stuff, then
and that's the goal.
There is the chance of,
and that's the goal. I mean, you're planning every patient's exit strategy the day they come in.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got a couple minutes left, and I want to get to your before pictures.
Yes.
And so these are some pictures from. Are you going by Erin or Bristol?
It doesn't
Either
matter.
way. Okay.
I go by either.
Erin.
Wow.
Bristol. Yeah.
Okay, so this was a picture that a friend took of me last October. And I pulled this up because, honestly, this is not a picture I would have posted myself. Because I'm huge, and I loved the girl that posted it, and it was special to her because she was at that event and got to meet my horse, that sweetheart. And so I didn't kill the tag because it was a moment in time. But I'm glad I didn't now, because the difference between a year ago and now, I mean, just look at my face.
You look like a different person. You really do.
What
Yeah.
would you tell yourself a year ago? What would you tell her?
Oh my gosh, why did you wait so long? Why? Why did you wait so long?
Yeah. Oh, and what's the horse's name?
That's Sweetheart.
Oh, it looks like she has like a little heart.
She has. That's why she's called Heart.
I love
But,
that.
I mean, you can see that. That was the spring of 2023. So that was about a year and a half ago. I mean, my gut and, you know, everything. It's just, yeah.
So do you feel like it's transformational for you to like also love that person before you get started
sure.
too? Yeah.
Absolutely. And honestly, Shed It does have access to different kinds of therapy if that is something that you choose. They have providers that they refer to for counseling if that's something that you need to work through.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you through my current job, there's not a single one of us that doesn't have trauma in their life.
Right.
We all deal with it differently, and guess what? Some of us deal with it with food. And you can't always fix that by yourself. That just happens to be a more socially acceptable drug.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
That's true. Okay. And so do you feel like pictures now maybe don't stress you out as much, or like how do you feel about that now that you're in this journey? you know?
Absolutely. I feel it's freeing. It's freeing, yes.
Cool. I love that. I love how that we're talking about the mental health behind it and how it's just a journey. You know, you're on this journey.
Oh, I'll be 100% honest. I hid behind my weight. I hid behind my weight because I had a fear of failure. Straight up. I had already done that work though.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Okay. So we've got a couple of minutes, and Irina, tell us about, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I know that you guys have this awesome tool, the Gallery testing, and it's genetic testing, correct, for different types of
It's
cancer?
a blood test, actually.
Okay.
It's a blood test. Well, it tests if there's cancer in your blood. So it's a multi-cancer detection system, and it's done by blood tests. So if you have cancer, if there's cancer cells in your blood, it sheds the DNA. So you would find that. And you would find that very quickly. So if you find it very quickly, your chances to survive are much higher.
Right.
So I really recommend it to everybody. It is unfortunately not covered by insurance at this point. It is $949 out of pocket. They do offer, like the company is Grail, they do offer a payment plan, monthly. But I mean, it is an expense, but I recommend it to everybody.
Yeah.
It can save lives.
Absolutely.
And the way you look at it, it's like, okay, yeah. I mean, put it on it. If you had to put it on a credit card, let's just be real, and it saves your life.
Yeah.
Kind of who cares how
Exactly.
long it takes to pay it off.
Especially if you have a family history,
Yes.
or if you are around the age of 50, because this is when cancer rates really start increasing.
Right.
You should spend it on yourself, and it's a yearly thing. Like, you should get retested every year. And it's just an addition to the regular screenings that you already do, like a mammogram or your cervical check or a prostate screening for men.
Right. And you bring up a good point. So you mentioned this earlier, Erin, that these shots aren't covered by insurance unless you have, maybe diabetes or if you can qualify. But you mentioned that it's worth it. So talk a little bit about, we just have about 90 seconds left of just how worth it is for that
First
expense.
of all, you're not spending nearly as much money on food. I mean, let's go ahead and be real. I know I spend a lot more time planning out my meals, and so when I'm shopping now with a purpose. So even though it does seem like the price of everything has gone up, I don't feel like I'm spending nearly as much. I mean, because what is it, like a pound is worth like 3,500 calories? Well, put that into the food cost.
Yeah, that's true. It
Yeah.
adds up. It
Quick.
adds up.
For sure. Yeah, great perspective. Well, we just have about a minute left. Irina, tell us where we can find you, where you're located, and social media and all that jazz.
So Shed It is located in Bossier. Our address is 2211 Shed Road, Suite B. It's the purple door. You can also follow us on social media. Our handle is Shed It on Shed Road. kind of makes sense. Yeah, and if you want to call us or text us, the number is 318-746-3880, and our amazing receptionists, Kelsey and Holly, will answer.
I don't think we said this during our Healthline, but on our midday news, you mentioned Shed It gets the credit. So I wanted to end it with that.
I really love that. Shed It gets the credit. Yeah.
Well, thanks for
Thank you,
joining
Erin.
us. Thanks for being here, Erin. And if you wanted to watch this, you could go to ktbs.com/podcast, and we'll have that available for you. Thanks for joining us.